All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back, and we are hopefully awaiting the arrival of Governor Bobby Jindal of the great state of Louisiana, recently announced Republican presidential candidate. And as soon as we get a hold of him, we will go right to him. Interesting new poll out today, CNN poll, which shows that Jeb Bush nationally is leading the Republican field, the quite large Republican field. And right behind him is none other than Donald Trump. And, you know, Donald Trump today, again, it depends who you believe, cut ties with Macy's, or Macy's cut ties with Donald Trump. I think Macy's actually cut ties with Donald Trump. And I got to tell you, I got some Donald Trump ties. I mean, these kinds of ties, not cutting ties. I have them, and I wear them on the show. And I like them. And they did away with his clothesline, etc., because of his statements about Mexicans and Mexican immigrants specifically. Okay, we'll continue that conversation later, but we are joined right now, I am happy to say, by Bobby Jindal, the governor of the great state of Louisiana. Hello, Governor.
Steve, how are you today?
Good, good. Thanks for doing this. I know you're headed to Iowa, and you know, we had a nice conversation here in New York at the Four Seasons at that great event. And I want to tell the folks, you stood at that table. There were about 50 people, and they asked questions of you on every topic imaginable for about an hour and a half, maybe a little longer. And you didn't bat an eye, didn't miss a beat, and you handled them all, you know, so eloquently. And everybody there was very impressed.
Well, thank you very much. Look, I think candidates are looking for somebody who can do more than give a speech or deliver a one-liner. They want somebody who can answer the tough questions. This is the most important election of our lifetime. I know that every politician always says that, but it is true. President Obama, Hillary Clinton are trying to take us from the American dream to the European nightmare. We're on the path to socialism. We need to get off that path, otherwise Puerto Rico, Greece are going to be our future.
Does it bother you when Donald Trump, with no political experience and the brashness that he exhibits and the controversy that he's brought with him with his remarks, and it could be number 2 in the CNN poll today behind Jeb Bush, and what's your challenge to take his place or to become number 1 yourself?
Well, not at all. Look, I think that it shows this is a wide open race. The voters are looking for an outsider. My approach is this. I think as a conservative, as a Republican Party, we need to embrace our own principles. Jeb Bush says we need to be willing to lose the primary in order to win the general. I disagree with him. I think that what that really means, let me translate that, what that really means is that folks are saying you've got to hide your beliefs, get the left and the media to like you. I think that's nonsense. I think we need to stand for our own principles, say the things that in D.C. they tell you cannot say, like we're going to repeal Obamacare, we're going to shrink the size of the federal budget, we're going to balance the budget. We're going to have term limits. Even Republican leaders in D.C. don't like it when you talk like that. You know, Steve, here's the secret. A lot of Republican leaders were happy with those awful Supreme Court rulings last week. They want marriage off the table. They think it's a distraction. They don't want to do the hard work to replace Obamacare. Only in D.C. would they consider losing to be a good thing, to be winning. So I'm running to say, let's embrace our own principles. Let's provide the American people a path different from more government dependence, more borrowing, more spending.
Well, that's a great point. I'm glad you brought up the Supreme Court, because I was going to go there next. And the first question is, should this not be, and shouldn't it have always have been, to Romney, McCain, I mean always, but should it now not be more apparent than ever that whoever the nominee is, that a major issue should be, hey, we need to appoint the next 2 or 1 or 3 Supreme Court justices, because if the Democrats do it, this country will be fundamentally changed forever.
Absolutely. But not only do we need a Republican to appoint them, we need a Republican in the White House. It's not enough just to send any Republican to the White House. We need to send a Republican to the White House who will govern as a conservative. Remember, some of the swing votes in these 2 awful cases were actually appointed by Republicans. You know, Chief Justice Roberts has now twice saved Obamacare from itself. And Justice Kennedy was the one who actually wrote that the opinion on marriage that even Justice Roberts said had nothing to do with the Constitution. So it's not enough just to get a Republican in the White House. We need to have a Republican that will appoint justices that actually read the Constitution. Scalia said it best on the Obamacare case. He said, look, this means that words no longer have meanings. This means we've got a court where they don't read the Constitution, they don't read a dictionary. It's time to get some justices that will stop being politicians, stop obeying the public opinion polls, and actually read and obey the Constitution.
So a litmus test for you then in talking to a Supreme Court nominee might be what?
Well, look, it's amazing to me that time and time again, Democratic presidents appoint very liberal judges and even justices, and even many Republican senators will vote for them. When it comes time for Republicans, we're told, well, go find a judge that has no record of writings, no court rulings. That's nonsense. And for me, I want a justice who's actually going to read and apply the Constitution, not be a politician, who understands their role is not to create laws or follow public opinion polls. And so, for example, I would look to Scalia, and more recently, you look at how Alito has made his rulings on the court. Those are the kinds of justices we need on the court. Look, Chief Justice Roberts is a great politician, but that is not his job on the court.
Yeah, no, very well said. All right, where are you on this issue of the gay marriage issue? Because I thought that the Attorney General and folks in Louisiana at first reacted one way, and now they're going the other way towards issuing licenses. Where is Louisiana right now, and what are they going to do going forward?
So, look, I issued an executive order, and we're being sued by the ACLU, but I issued an executive order back in May in anticipation of this awful ruling, making it very clear that Louisianians have religious liberty rights and that the state of Louisiana will not take any kind of punitive action against an individual or a business for having a traditional view of marriage as being between a man and a woman. On the core issue, I think the court is wrong. As a Christian, I believe marriage is between a man and a woman. I don't think that an earthly court can change my view or my beliefs. It doesn't change my view or beliefs of the proper definition of marriage. I support federal efforts to return to the states our 10th Amendment rights. In Louisiana, we had amended our Constitution. It had been upheld by a federal judge in terms of defining marriage as between a man and a woman. I'm also supportive of federal efforts to define marriage as being between a man and a woman. I think where the left is now going is they're going after our First Amendment religious freedom rights. And you saw it in other states where bakers and florists are facing thousands of dollars of fines for obeying their conscience. We don't want to allow that to happen in Louisiana. I don't think we can allow that to happen in our country. See, the left's trying to silence us. They don't want us to have our First Amendment rights. They don't want us to be able to live our lives according to our religious beliefs.
Constitutional amendment in order?
Absolutely. Look, absolutely. And unfortunately, it shouldn't have taken a constitutional amendment, but I'm absolutely supportive of, I have long been and I continue to be supportive of those efforts.
On marriage?
Yes, on marriage.
Yeah.
On marriage.
Okay.
And again, it shouldn't have taken, the reason I say it shouldn't have taken a constitutional amendment is that the court clearly was not following the Constitution. The court clearly was following public opinion polls. Hillary Clinton, President Obama, they evolved, meaning everybody knows they followed the opinion polls. My views are not evolving on this issue. And I want to be clear, to me, this is not something I'm just watching opinion polls. I know the easiest thing for any politician to do is to simply evolve and change their views as the president did, as Secretary Clinton did. I'm not evolving. My views are grounded in my faith. I continue to believe that marriage is between a man and a woman. I continue to believe in religious freedom rights. I also think, by the way, that you can have religious freedom rights without discrimination. I think the left has got this completely wrong.
Barack Obama today with the announcement of the opening of embassies in Cuba and here in the United States, talking about how, although well-intended, the policies of the past, which he will not go back to, have failed. Do you believe that this is the right answer? You know, and do you believe that the freedoms will ever come? Because at the same time, Governor, I'm sure you're aware that Obama was making his announcement today. The Cuban government was announcing they want Guantanamo back. They don't want us beaming in any more broadcasts into Cuba to the people of Cuba. So I don't see how this is working at all.
I agree with you. No, I think this is an absolute mistake. But look, it's part of a pattern. This is part of his foreign policy. Dictators around the world, whether it's Castro in Cuba, whether it's Putin in Russia, whether it's the Iranian regime, all around the world, our enemies are rejoicing as we bend over backwards to appease them, and our friends don't trust us. We don't consistently stand with Israel. Our enemies don't fear us. Our friends don't trust us. Absolutely. Look, what did the president get for today's announcement? You don't see an increase in freedom for the Cuban people. Cuba recently, it was in the news in terms of their complicity with the North Koreans in terms of weapons. This is a regime. Just a year ago, you had Secretary Kerry certifying, their state sponsor of terrorism. What has changed? And so this is not. This makes no sense from a foreign policy perspective, but it shouldn't surprise us. This president rewards. It seems the best example of him trying to reward those who are acting against America's interests is not just his announcement today, but also his ongoing negotiations with Iran that could start a nuclear arms race in the Middle East. That would be an existential threat not only to Israel and our European allies, but to the United States. The fact that we're on the verge of allowing a regime that's chanting death to America and holding American prisoners to retain their nuclear capabilities, develop and do their R&D is just mind-boggling to me. But this is what you get when you lead from behind.
I got one more for you, and it involves Hillary. We had some emails released today that show that Sidney Blumenthal, who the State Department told her could not be, I'm sorry, the White House told her could not be in your State Department, was more than just, oh, an old friend. In fact, she solicited advice from him. He gave her advice. She forwarded that advice on. He advised her on more than just Libya, as it turned out. And you have that aspect of it. You also have her, for some reason, not knowing when there were cabinet meetings, saying, I heard about a cabinet meeting on the radio, should I come? And these are the emails she wanted us to see, Governor. So that's the thing here. We may never see the ones she did not want us to see.
Absolutely right. The first point, absolutely right. She already deleted and edited the ones she did not want to turn over. But secondly, by using her own server, she's created a breach of national security. Everybody's focusing on their dishonesty, their lack of transparency, the fact she destroyed these records. That's standard practice for the Clintons. Real issue is here, the American people are never going to see all of these emails, while the Russians and Chinese, and they already have them. You know, the reality is you got a Secretary of State unlawfully choosing to conduct our country's foreign policy business on our own private email system. If Congress really wants to see all their emails, then they need to ask those hackers working for the foreign governments. We may be the only superpower in the world that will never see all of Hillary Clinton's emails. It's a shame. We're going to have to ask the Chinese for access to her emails.
All right. Governor, you've been generous with your time. How could folks find out more about your campaign and help you out?
Well, I encourage people to go to BobbyJindal.com, BobbyJindal.com to learn more. We're asking people to join a cause, not just a campaign, believe again in America. Let's get our country back on the right path.
All right, Governor, thank you so much for your time, and I hope as we progress you'll come back.
I look forward to that. Thanks for having me today.
Thank you. My pleasure. Governor Bobby Jindal, ladies and gentlemen, Governor of Louisiana and Republican presidential candidate. Yeah, we covered a whole lot of ground there with the governor, and that is so right. And this is something that we've talked about over the course of the email scandal and right from the get-go. And I'm glad to hear him say this because, remember, Miss Sophisticated Technological Genius Hillary Clinton, when she gave that little press conference about why she had the private address and blah blah and the server, she said, don't worry, nobody got to the server because she had it guarded. She had Secret Service men guarding the server. Like, here's the server, and here's the Secret Service guys watching the server. No, Miss Clinton, nobody got to it today. When, of course, you hack into a server and nobody could see it physically. And that's what the governor's alluding to. And this is a very big concern. My God, we are finding out that they hacked into all kinds of government agency servers and computers and got the names of 18 million possibly government workers from years going by and presently, Social Security, everything. And we're supposed to think that Hillary Clinton's, the Secretary of State's private at-home server wasn't hacked because Hillary had a Secret Service agent guarding it? The governor's absolutely right that if we want to know, if the committee wants to know what's on Hillary's server and what emails she won't let us see because she erased them, we should call the Iranians, or we should call the Chinese, or we should call the Russians, because you could bet your sweet bippy, as Dick Martin on Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In used to say, no one in the control room knows what the heck Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In is. If you want to be able to bet your sweet bippy, somebody has those emails. Somebody has those emails. And what does that open you up to? Blackmail. That's what's so very dangerous. That's a huge aspect of this whole Clinton email scandal, which nobody really brings up or talks about. And I think that's a shame. Also discussing Cuba, to hear the president in all of his arrogance. How much time we have left here? Okay, I don't want to. We don't have time to play Barack Obama. But if you saw when he came to the microphone today to announce this embassy exchange with Cuba, he was angry. He was his newly minted angry self where he feels free to be himself, which is, in my view, angry. And, you know, we're not going back to the policies that failed. You don't like it, you're ancient, you're prehistoric, blah, 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 blah. What did Cuba give us? Again, they spit in his face as he was making the announcement. Cuba is saying over their, you know, state-run media or whatever, they're making demands. We want Guantanamo back. We want you to stop broadcasting into Cuba this message of freedom. You know, what? This is goodwill? No. And Iran, as we sit and negotiate with Iran, what do they say? We're going to kill you. You're the great Satan. We're going to get you. And Obama goes, okay, but let's negotiate anyway. Something wrong there. Anyway, we're coming back with Gimme 5. It's next right here on the Steve Malzberg Show.